Hello and welcome to this edition of Jollof Now here on Radio Now 95.3 FM, Lagos. My name is Bolanle, and on today's episode, I have a very interesting guest with me in the studio. He is a legend. He has been around the corner for quite a while, and he just put out a new album titled Sidikai. Please join me as I welcome Oga Boss, Ill-bliss, to the program. It's so wonderful to have you here, Ill-bliss, Oga Boss. I mean, it's an honor.
Thank you very much.
I'm trying to embrace this moment. You know, I'm fangirling right here.
You better do.
Honestly.
Thank you for having me on your show.
Most definitely, most definitely. So you just put out an album very recently, and you've been doing a lot of media rounds. It's titled Sidikai.
Sidikai.
What does that mean?
Sidikai is a name that is coined from two names.
Okay.
Kachim Side and Sochi Kaima. They're my daughters. They're my kids. So Kaima is 7. She just turned 7 in July. Side is 4. So if you look at the cover, they are the cover art.
I know.
Yeah, with wearing headphones.
Very artistic as well. How were you able to coordinate them to? Was it an unplanned moment?
Those ones are divas. They're stars. They're stars in their rights already. I woke up once, I think it was some Saturday morning, 2 years ago or a year and a half ago, and I just came downstairs and saw both of them sitting. They had gone to my laptop bag and scattered everything. They had my cords, they had my hard drives, they had my headphones on. So they were like, "Papa, how do we look? How do we look?" So I just looked at them and just got my phone because just something just connected. I'm like, this is such a dope picture. They had my glasses on. I
saw it.
So so they prepped themselves. So I just came downstairs and said, okay, you guys just look this way. They looked. So I took a couple pictures with my phone. And just forgot about it.
Wow.
So fast forward to 2023. July, August. So I was just thinking about, that I had already started recording bits and bits of music. So I felt I should just put together this album. What would I call this album? And then I just going through my phone and just saw that picture and I said, this is the cover. Because I have, this is my 7th album.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, definitely.
So I felt I needed to go in a totally different direction. Artistically. Let the art direction just go in another,
Yeah, I get that.
So, and then those kids are miracle babies.
Yeah. So I watched an interview where you talked about, some of the struggles that you faced, trying to have a child. Like it took a really long time.
8 years. Yeah. I got married in 2009.
Yeah.
Yeah. May 16th specifically, and it took us. Took wifey and I 8 years before Kaima came. So this album is a testimony. For me, it's just I'm poster boy for God's blessings. So and the power of patience and the power of faith. I needed it to shine through. I'd done so many other projects with my face on the cover. Like I've done everything. I've done my debut album. I was on the cover. The Oga Boss album. I was on the cover. Powerful. I was on the cover. Ili Chapo, Ili Bomaye, all of them all put together. I just felt it was time to just go in a totally different direction artistically. So, but it's cool. It's cool for them. When they go to uni. When they go to uni, they can brag about
definitely.
They're already bragging.
I seen their dad is Oga Boss, Ill-bliss. I mean, do they? Okay, let me ask you this question.
Yeah.
Do they? I understand that they're quite young, but do they have an understanding that Daddy is a rapper, Daddy is an influential person in the music industry? Do they have an idea of that?
Kaima is fully in the picture. Side is a baby, so she's just but Kaima tells all her classmates, like, my dad is a dope rapper, like my dad is Oga Boss, and her mates are looking at her and she's like, so anytime you go to their school and the parents, I'm trying to wear a hat and just
hide your face,
hide my face and just wear normal clothes and just do school runs because she's like, Papa, we didn't stop to say hi to this. She likes the attention.
Do you think she took that confidence from you? Because she seems like a child who is very confident.
Kaima has the confidence of a million people, like a million confident, driven kids. Her energy is incredible. She's so intelligent. Well, also she came factory fitted with confidence. Yeah, but every now and then she's a kid. So every now and then she second guesses herself. You know, I don't know how to play the violin, or they didn't choose me for such and such in school, or so. But I just keep trying to guide them and to, you know, to keep building their level of confidence, and to keep telling them that, you know, you could win at everything.
That's
and
amazing.
You know, I'm a competitive parent. When I'm
Really?
competitive, you should hear our conversations in the morning when we're going off for school. So I'm like, Kaima, so you know that 80 with maths last session was nonsense.
Wow.
It's like 100 or nothing. Those 20 marks, I want it back. You know, and this is what I'm going to do for you when you get it back. You understand?
You
want
get
to
a
go,
reward.
Yeah, you get a reward, incentives. You want to go for summer, I'll keep saving for it. But if you don't clock 100, you're not going anywhere. You want to go for... So Kaima leaves for, you know, to make sure, you know, she goes to school and she's like, Papa, like, such and such child had 2 marks over me, and it was because I'm like, it's fine, we'll go again. But you stay competitive, and with everything in life, you just stay in the picture, stay on top of it, you know, without driving them off the cliff.
Definitely.
Yeah. So that's what we do, you know.
So would you say that all of these things that you just explained is what inspired you to drop Daughters on the album?
Yeah. Yeah. Did you listen to Daughters?
I had a quick snippet, but the songs I focused on, I listened to Successful, and I listened to the one you had with Odumodu.
Odumodu.
Yeah.
Yeah. Daughters was inspired by my kids. Yeah.
Okay.
So it's just our journey and our story all put together in 2 verses.
Amazing.
You know, first verse for Kaima, second verse for Side, and Side also came dramatically. 2020, she came in. She came in COVID year, and and she came at 5 months plus. Yeah, 23 weeks. That's when Wifey's water broke.
What? Yeah. How was that?
That was scary.
Were you okay? I was about to ask you if you were scared.
You know how it was now. The whole, I can imagine how Lagos Island would look, because I mean, I passed it a couple of times during COVID, and whole streets was apocalyptic. It was like everybody rapture had happened, and
you know,
everybody
the zombie apocalypse
had happened, and nobody, just a couple people in the streets wearing masks. It just looked like end times. So Side came, Wifey's water broke, and that was, I can't forget, that was May 29th to May 29th, 2020. So my album Ili Chapo, that was my last album before Sidekai came. So I had prepped it. I was just coming from Hip TV to do interviews. You know, just like I'm doing interviews now, you know, and I was headstrong about it. I'm going to put out an album in this COVID times. Nothing is going to stop me.
I mean, everybody was releasing songs and projects in that period.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So I just didn't want to be left behind or keep the fans wanting new music. So I'd finished my interviews, you know, and then just came back home, and midnight, once the album went live, I was just there in my office, my home office, just typing stuff on Twitter, and Wifey just comes out and says, "Babe, I think my water broke." And I'm like, "What? No, it can't. I'm looking at time.
It has already broken."
I'm like, it's broken. And then 2, 3 a.m. we're heading to the hospital. We go to get to the hospital, and you know, doctors like, "Oh, this looks like a miscarriage." You know, these are all signs. Nigerian doctors are terrible. You know, not in entirety, but just quite a number of them are not inspired. You know, they're not giving the patients hope. They're not trying to support. And I met the guy that wasn't ready to help anybody feel better that night. And it was like,
was it a private hospital or?
It's a private hospital.
Okay.
In Ikeja. And that was where our HMO was. So we waited till morning, and we ran tests and found out that Wifey had like a tear on her sac. So all the amniotic fluid that was in her sac, was lost. Was just drip. She was just coming, dripping, losing fluid, and eventually the baby would die. So the hospitals would just say, just go ahead and do an evacuation so that the baby can, be taken out and Wifey would survive. But every time I touched her belly, so I touch her belly out here, see they kicking. And I'm like, we're not going to do it because I mean,
this child seems very much alive.
And so fate, and then if some good friends of ours referred us to another hospital on the island. I can't call their name because
it's fine. It's definitely
So and we went there, and luckily they had a unit called the NICU, the new care for NICU for premature babies.
Oh, that's amazing.
So wifey stayed there for about 2 weeks and built up from that 23 weeks to 25, almost 26 weeks, and then doctors were like, we need to evacuate. And the first hospital gave us a false reading on the amniotic fluid ratio. They said wifey was down to 1.5%, and she was almost water was almost gone. But when we got to the other hospital, it was almost like 7-8%. So they were like, yeah, it's still low, but we still need to keep her on bed rest. So while she was on bed rest, I was promoting my album on the rooftop of the hospital.
Wow.
So every time wifey would sleep off or get a break or rest, her siblings would come over to take turns. I'll just go to the rooftop with my phone. I'll just record. What's up? My name is Ill-bliss. Brand new album, Illy Chapel X. Get it. Available on iTunes.
And then you were dealing with such a serious issue. How was that for you? How were you handling it?
It was escape. Music has always been escape. What of the years before my kids started coming, those 8 years, it was music. Yeah. That's how I made all of those albums, all of those records.
Fire.
And thank you very much. Thank you so much. I've made like so many iconic records, so many iconic albums. Worked with some really beautiful artists over time. So that's what music has always been in my life. It's always been that soothing, that channel that helps me survive or keep away from the crisis that's going on in my life.
Wow.
And that's what it was. And people were like, and because it's it's a tall building, it's like 8 floors up. So when you do all those videos, you see like the other tall buildings
are like low.
People were like, "Oga boss, you don't go carry private jets, can't go Yankee." They suffer this COVID thing with us. I didn't say a word. I'll just go there, spit freestyles, post it, get the album, then I'll go downstairs, lie down on the floor next to wifey and just keep watch and keep praying. Yeah. So and then we delivered Sida, and she went into the ICU, and miracle baby from the jump. Never needed oxygen. Just next to kids that were barely just stressed, suffering to breathe, and you see a lot of kids in there in little just little stuff, and just there and with wires and stuff, and you just look at life and say it gave me a whole new meaning for people that get married and they just have kids in a couple of months or maybe a year down the line, or for people that don't treat their kids well, or people that don't raise their kids right. They don't understand what it takes to have one child, so that is
hale and hearty.
I mean, you go there, they'll tell you, oh, such and such baby's suffering, she's got her lungs can't carry the breathing properly, she's on oxygen. This baby is, has issues here, this baby has issues, and you're just looking and you're like, God, and we're just walking around taking everything for granted. Every frigging thing, So you see, then you go down to some floors underneath to the pediatric ward, and you see parents that bring their children to the hospital, but the kids are probably sick or just scared of injections or scared of blood tests, and the kids throw tantrums and they cry, and the parents just smack them. You understand? Wouldn't you keep quiet? Every time you're disgracing me. How is it really about you? It's about the little soul that you brought into this world that needs to look at you and see calmness, and needs to see that
you have things under control.
That you have everything under control, and that when they're losing it, that they can, they can rely on you. So my children.
This is so amazing. I mean, talking about all of these things and sharing such personal details, of course, is an honor. And I know that it's not easy to reveal these details. You understand? It's really inspiring. But I would like for you to have a listen of one of the tracks on the album called Daughters. I want you to feel the song as much as you are feeling this conversation right now with myself and Ill-bliss, and we will be right back. I still have Ill-bliss with me in the building. I mean, it's been such great conversations with you so far.
Thank you.
We are talking about your recent album, Sidikai.
Yeah.
And we just had a listen of Daughters. Now, let's talk about your other collaborations. You know.
Oh, yeah.
What was it like working with Odumodu?
Vladimir, that's my guy. That's my brother. We were in the studio. I was in the studio with the producer, Skeeter. His name is Skeeter. He made 14 out of the 16 records.
Wow.
He made 14, and the other 2 were made by Major Banks.
Major Banks?
Yes, and the reason why Skeeter didn't make all 16 was because at some point he got busy and couldn't finish the records, and I needed those songs completed, so I just spoke to Major to finalize it. We're in the studio recording, make it just beats. It had beats as trading ideas essentially, and so we made this record, Full Chest, and it had so much energy. You know, I had done the first verse, and done the second verse, and did the third verse. Then I'm like, nah.
Somebody needs to jump on this.
No. Ski, we need to change the way the song kicks. We need to get somebody in, somebody that also has, you know, that can match my energy on the record, you know. So we started thinking. I was like, what about Odumodu Black? I don't know if you've met him, and I'm like, met him. I haven't met him, but I mean, we talk on social media. We like each other's stuff, and we comment and everything. And so I called. I sent him a message on Instagram. I said, send me your number. So he sent it. Then I called him, and these are the first things Odumodu said.
What did he say?
He said, "My Don." he said, still on that dumb flow, pipe flow, delivery cycle.
Come on.
Capo, Ilichapo, Don DeMarco, slugs never touch me. Then he now says, come on, G, bruh. Baba, now you with a bite that year. You see this flow, you see this my current flow. We took all of this aggression listening to. So there's this record called Ili Chapo that I had some years ago. And these are the opening lines of the song, still on that dom flow, pipe flow, delivery cycle.
Yeah.
So I was just blown away. I'm like, I didn't even know that I was impacting this much. You know, I had heard of him. I knew they had done incredible things growing hip hop culture in Abuja, creating a scene, like a proper music ecosystem in Abuja, and then he's like, I'm like, I have a record that I want you to hear. You see, Baba, send the damn record now.
Wow.
I'll record it. I sent it to him. He said, Jesus, this is fire. Baba, give me like 3 days, 3 to 4 days. I'll send it back to you. But Odumodu send this record in 2 hours.
Can you imagine?
You understand? You understand? You know. So and that became Full Chest. And I just looked at it and I'm like, you know, when you're away from music for some time, sometimes you second guess yourself. You begin to wonder, all of these new things happening in music, all of these new artists popping up, do they even know you? Would they want to make music with you? But if you look back at my trajectory in music, you would know that I always stay updated one way or the other. I always make sure that, you know, and that's what bettered records like Alaji with Runtown.
Yes.
Can't Hear You. What Jawolaya with Ricardo and Mr. Easy.
The one with Chidima, Emini Bola. Hello.
All of those. Too many records. So I just realized, okay, it was time for me to try and reach out to a couple more people. The next collaboration was Fave.
I like the track, actually.
Peace of mind.
You know, one thing I noticed about Fave, I feel like you rappers be really feeling this chick, you know.
Oh, no.
And I think she's super talented. Olamide had her on
absolutely.
The track, I feel like, really put her out there.
Yeah.
She's someone that's, you know.
That's the first time I heard I was Troubadour. I mean, he's done incredible things for young artists.
Yes, he
and
has.
continues to do.
Yes, he
has.
has.
So I reached out to her and I'm like, let's go. So she came to the studio where we were recording in Lekki, and before I got to the studio, she was there. She had made 2 records.
That's how it should be.
She had made like 2-3 records, so I had to choose. In fact, this was one of the most painless experiences I had making music. No diva attitude. Everybody would just be like, oh, Oga Boss, new album, let's go. And I think I'm really blessed to have people look at me in that vein.
That line.
Next was Tenny. Tenny is on a record called Oh My God, That's a mad record. I went to some apartment in Ikoyi where she was doing a camp, like a recording writing camp, and we just went there and we just played beats for her, and she was like, "Boss, we need to do something that will move people, that to just make something that will make people just cry. That would be like Oyo Mayo. Yeah, that she wanted something that was so stirring. I said, okay. She said, just send me a couple beats, but this is my direction. Behold, when she sent back the record, it was a love song, which is so beautiful. Like I really love the song a lot. It's called "Oh My God," and you know, that's how the experience with Tenny went. My brothers Umo Bilibo are on another record called Chukwebuka.
Yeah, I saw that actually.
Oh God, Umo Bilibo. Those guys are like legends. They are young, modern time legends in the Southeast, and they've crossed over to Lagos. And I knew we had to do one jam, you know,
to represent the culture,
for the culture, to uplift the culture, you know. So I had them on another record. Then my brother Vector the Viper. Yeah, this is his.
You know, when I heard that song yesterday, I'm like, oh, please come on.
No,
come on, just kill me.
Successful is crazy.
It is crazy.
Successful is just crazy. It's just, the vibe is incredible. So I said, and I called him. I said, we're not going to do any hectic lyricism on any song. I just want us to just let the world remember that we've been successful with this music business.
Yeah.
And Vector just took it. His flow was so effortless. This is his hood. Shout out to Lafiaji.
Yes,
you know,
he is a Lagos Island boy. He actually has been here.
Oh, for real? For real? Incredible. Like, this is a blindfolded. Vector will show you every street corner in this.
What's that song that he has with Fowls and Moon on Earth, Ekoloa?
Ekoloa.
Yeah, and he talked about Lagos Island and the song and all
this
that.
This is home. This is absolutely home. Like, I've walked the streets a bunch of times with Vector. It's a very uncomfortable situation. Like, all the thugs, all the corner boys, all the Omoniles, all the boys that are just, you know, all the thugs, you know, everybody's.
Well, you're very, you know, you full ground now.
No, I'm full ground, but I'm not from Lafiaji, man. They're not harassing. Like, you know, when you're walking with just maybe 4 or 5 people, and when you look back, it's 300 people walking behind you. Like, I don't like all the attention, but
it's okay.
But shout out to V. Even before sending the verse to Vector, I sent it to Molade.
Okay.
So I sent her a bunch of records, and Molade here.
I listened to Molade's vocals on that track. It was mind blowing. It was giving like vocal gangster.
Oh yes.
It was really.
She had to tug up. She had to like.
I was really from like don't be like they were singing.
Such a sweet girl. Such a sweet girl. And I'm like, what is wrong with you? Why? But I loved it. I loved that the fact that I could take her out of character, out of her comfort zone. You know, just made it such a beautiful experience. And then I went on to make records with new artists that are coming up. There's a girl called Ukel. She's on a record called Gen Z.
Yeah, I like the Gen Z track too.
Yes. There's another girl called Deborah Prest. That is on another record called Remember. I always do that on every album. I always try to balance it out so that, you know, it will be a bunch of existing established artists and also give the youngins an opportunity. So that's how City Kai was created.
Came together.
Yeah.
It's
shout
so
out to Skeeter. Skeeter musically saved my career. Because after those 4 years, I was like, okay, so this is retirement. There's no point putting out any other album. Just face your kids and your other businesses. But when I made that album and it came out and the reception was madness. Everybody, they're like, oh my, like whether they think I'd gone back to the East to open up a spare parts shop, I don't know what it was, but the love has been incredible till this very moment.
That's so lovely. You know, speaking of spare parts and business, you put out a documentary on Showmax that talks about apprenticeship, you know, in the in the Igbo culture, let me put it that way. Can you tell us more about this? You know, what inspired you to create it and all that? I saw Obi Kubana as one of the people who were interviewed. So
but I mean, Obi Kubana is even like just trying to show he's not a direct recipient of that system, but he practices certain elements of that system in his business. like empowerment, entrepreneurship, through entrepreneurship, and guiding young ones and putting them on and teaching them how to also bring in a next batch, sort of like a Jewish, system,
I get it.
But shout out to the great folks of Showmax. They gave us an opportunity, a huge opportunity to create and tell our stories. And I'm from the Southeast, and we're very big on commerce, as you know, and trade.
You're well known for that.
Yes, we're known for that. So after post the Civil War, we had we had to lean on trade so much because that was how we could rebuild the economy of the Southeast. And a lot of people, when I was growing up, I grew up in Enugu.
Yeah, you mentioned that.
Yeah, so just right opposite my house in New Haven. New Haven is the area I grew up in, Lower Chime.
Okay.
There's this man, Mr. Ilechuku, that used to sell like building, like paints. He used to sell a lot of paint. Was a distributor for the major paint companies, and he also used to sell like a lot of building stuff, building materials, roofing sheets and everything. So because his shop was directly opposite our house, every time you stepped out to the balcony, you'd see what was going on in their shop. I found out that he always had like a bunch of boys that were always there, going back and forth, learning the trade. You see them when they come up, you see them as they grow, because they're growing with you. We'll play ball with them sometimes, and then all of a sudden, they will tell you that they've achieved freedom. And achieve freedom, and they're going to open their own shops, and they're going to, and then you see them, they come back the next time, they have cars, they pull up in a car, and they've come to show Oga that their first car, or their wife, or their first child, so my dad used to threaten us every time we do something terrible or would not do so well in school. My dad would be like, I'm going to send you to Ilechuku. So it was punishment in his eyes. My dad was a pharmacist, so he believed in school.
Academics, education.
Academics and education. So that was the first time I saw that system. So I started to ask my dad, why do these boys stay, and after a while they go and another batch will come? And he was the first person that explained that Iwa boy system. That's what they call it.
Call it again.
Iwa boy.
Okay.
Boy, as in Iwa boy is servitude.
Okay.
Like Iwa boy. And or Imuafia. Imuafia is learning the trade. Afia means business trade.
Imuafia.
Imu is learn.
Okay.
Imuafia.
Okay.
Yeah.
At least I pronounced that one.
No, you did. You did. Yeah, Igbo can be a mouthful sometimes.
Yeah.
So and then I got introduced to an incredible young man and we became partners. His name is Daro. Daro was already creating a similar story about entrepreneurship. I had even gone into production, was already shooting some stuff, for specific people. So what they did from the production team at Showmax was to put us together, and we both became executive producers for the show called Free Men. That's the name of the show. So it's a 7-part documentary series about the Igbo apprenticeship system. It's an original. It's a Showmax original. So they commissioned us, and we went in and we shot the show. We were always in Lagos Island, just going through the market, speaking to the guys and their boys. It was crazy. Broad Street, all of those lines.
Did you have bodyguards and people around you?
Nobody knew it was me, because I was just understated, and we had, some dope Sony cameras. We shot on the FX3, and then went to Newi, went to the Innocent plant, spoke to the owner, the founder of Innocent Motors, spoke to him.
Really?
You should watch that show. That show will change your perspective on so many things. We went to Coscharis and spoke to Dr. Cosmos Maduka about Coscharis and how he built it all up from selling motorcycle parts, you understand, in Apapa, to becoming an empire worth over $5.3 billion today. And to think that all these men did not go to uni, they were
able to build an empire.
Incredible. They've made so many success stories, So it's been it's such a great story. It was such a great story to tell. Daro and I had an incredible time piecing it together, you know, and we started, it was well researched. We started off from going to pick up the boys, you know, and how you integrate them into the system, you understand. We're also blessed to have this dude called Anene, Mr. Anene Okeke, like a very close brother of mine, and he opened up his business and showed us everything, how he takes the boys in, trains them, puts them in the back house in his compound. Sometimes they're 12.
You know, it reminds me of this movie on Netflix, Afamefuna. Did you watch it?
Oh yes, of course.
Because
I have a soundtrack for Afamefuna. My song Bank a Lot is Afamefuna, and Afamefuna is such an incredible.
I loved the movie so much. It detailed, you know, this apprenticeship thing. You know, really opened my eyes and made me understand how it works and all that. Yes.
This will make you work because this is a docu-series. Yeah. Afamefuna was even love, paternity issues, you understand. But I saw it before it came out because when they found out we were making Free Men, they invited us for a private screening at Film House, and we sat down and I saw the movie, and it's an incredible story. You know, I mean, shout out to Stan Unze and the entire.
He really killed his part.
He did. You know, and so that was the story of Free Men. It came out earlier in the year. It's been streaming on Showmax. Yeah, and that's my direction. That's what I want to do with the rest of my years in entertainment. Streaming content, produce streaming content, you know, from films, you know, to documentaries and everything, because a lot of people that inspired me in hip hop ended up on television. LL Cool J has done over 12, 15 seasons of NCIS.
Yes.
Queen Latifah has done 4 seasons of Equalizer. Ice-T is on Special Victims, I think like a lot of seasons as well. 50 Cent
Power
is responsible for Power, Raising Canaan, Power Book, everything. Like he's got like his own universe. Power is like a universe. And 50 hasn't made music in over 10 years. Yeah. But he's still so rich, so relevant.
How about, what's his name again? Oh, I'm trying to remember his name. I forget. He was part of Straight Out of Compton.
Ice Cube.
Thank you, Ice Cube.
Like Cube is like, I read every single move Cube makes. I'm monitoring these things because the way I've been wired in music has never been like a typical Nigerian artist. When I was driving here, when I was coming to Radio Now, I was just laughing when I was driving through the streets because I used to be a banker.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
First things first, the transition.
Yeah, if you look at my CV, you think I'm mad. You just think this guy is just gambling.
Okay, tell me a few job positions that you acquired, you know, besides being a banker.
Well, okay, so I started with banking. When I finished service and came from the southeast, from Enugu, I served in a bank. And after serving in one bank and got retained in that bank, I now moved to, I ran through 3 different banks. Okay. So I left banking as an assistant manager.
Wow.
So I've run a branch. I've run one of the bank branches in, not Dallas, here, Lagos Island.
Here.
Yeah, smack in the middle of Lagos Island. Yeah, I had a branch there, and I was a young manager there. So I have a lot of experience. Banking taught me so much. Banking taught me, you know, customer retention. Banking taught me treasury, risk management, and how to lend, you know, the whole lending process and how to lend and recover money and make money off fees for the bank. Banking taught me everything: human resources, human capital development. Then I moved from oil and gas to retail banking at some point, to institutional banking, construction, oil and gas. Then I moved to, I've done a lot. I've done a lot in the finance sector that I look at music, then television content. I look at it like a balance sheet. What are you investing? What are you taking out? The ins and the outs, inflows, outflows. That's how I look at it. I don't look at it with too much, like I'm emotional about music. I love to create the music. If you listen to me very closely, you would know that I really make the kind of music that I like, I can defend. I don't move with the times, you know, and fortunately I've been successful in that little space that I've created for myself. So banking taught me all of that. I used to have customers on Campbell Street there's a company called Stabilini Vicinoni. It's a construction company belonging to Mr. Wale Babalaki. I was a senior advocate of Nigeria then. It was a construction company. His office was here. I was always here, you know. And I had businesses chasing companies up and down, come and open an account, you know. And the same way I was doing it here, I would also be doing it in Ikeja, all the way from VI to go to Ikeja, go to Apapa. Sometimes I'll get on a bike just to go to Apapa and collect an account opening form. Sometimes no checks, sometimes no initial deposits. So it taught me resilience. It taught me timing, because I've lost deposits because I came 10 minutes after another bank came and took the check. So when I have a time, I try and, you know, work with it and everything. So that's just what trained me extensively. When I left banking, I moved to England for some time, for a couple years, for about 2 years plus, and then came back to Nigeria around the time that music was changing in Nigeria.
I mean, there was a time that rap music was very prominent here in Nigeria, and at some point, everybody just disappeared.
Yeah.
You know,
we lost a lot of our soldiers. We lost Burna Boy, we lost Wiz, we lost Davido. 3 of them were rappers. And, you know, I guess they found the Afrobeat vibe, or they found the Afro pop vibe, you know, whatever you choose to call it, and it's made them like global stars. Hip hop is a tough sell in Nigeria. And not everybody's been as fortunate as myself, or Vector or MI, or Reminisce. You understand?
Olamide.
Or Bado, Olamide, or Fino. You know, not a lot of us. It's not a long list. So it's just fortunate.
I don't even know if we have a female rapper at the moment. Except I know this new artist that's signed to Maven Records, Life Size Steady.
Yeah, Teddy's incredible. She's a dope artist, and she's been building. She's had momentum is building, but it's tough for the boys, let alone the girls.
Yeah,
so it's a tough market. So you always need to, you know, flirt with Afrobeat, flirt with, you know, other genres, so that you can be able to sustain some. You know, there just needs to be something catchy about you. Do you know how I became Oga Boss?
I would like to know.
I was going for an interview. Now, every time I go for interviews just like this, I'll come in, I'll take up my tie, my jacket, fold it, put it in a little bag, and my shoes, then wear something more hip-hop. Because I couldn't go all dressed up like a banker.
Too serious and be like, are you the person?
Yeah. So there's this one particular day I couldn't do that swap because I was already running late for the interview. So I just came in with my suit, tie, bank tag. So the receptionist at the station said, "Are you our banker?" I said, "No, I'm here for an interview."
Yeah.
She says, "Interview like artist?" I said, "Yeah." And I called the name of the person that was going to interview me. So, okay. So as she was trying to clock me, she just said, "Now, wow, this one now got boss." That's how the name came.
Whoa.
That woman doesn't know why I give her money till tomorrow. She's retired. She retired last year.
Wow, you're still in contact with her. That's amazing.
I see her at the station where she was working. So, you know, and then she doesn't know she christened me. Because I went and I'm like, Oga Boss. Oh, wow. So I make music and I'm a banker. So it means I'm a double chief, Oga Boss. Okay, this is it. This is the name. So the name stuck. So it became Ill-bliss, aka Oga Boss. That's it. Some people even know that the names are too many. There are too many. But they took the Oga Boss. They even know Oga Boss. Some people don't know Oga Boss is not Ill-bliss. They think I'm two different people.
Nah, you're the same. It's more like an alter ego, so to speak. Yeah.
So to speak, yeah.
I mean, I wish we can go on and on. I mean, I'm not tired. Let me not lie to you. The conversation is great,
I'm happy you're not tired.
You have shared so much about yourself, your journey, some things about your personal life.
Yeah.
Honestly, but just to wrap up the program.
Yeah.
I know you have so much in stock. You just released an album.
Yes.
You put out this docu-series on Showmax.
Yeah.
What should we expect in the nearest or further future?
Okay. I'm showing more content. You know, we're in the age of licensing content now, so I'm just trying to do more content. A lot of them are Afrobeat related. Some of them are the university story that I'm telling as well. You understand? But it has a lot of music to it, and I just want to create stuff that young people can be fixated on or be addicted to. Just shows that mirror their lives, everything they go through. You know. I've made a film. I was Odogo Malay.
Yes, I know. I watched that. And I thought you did so amazing. Was that your first ever film?
Ever.
Wow.
Shout out to Kemi Adetiba.
I was impressed. I'm like, wait, nobody will believe me that.
Yeah, that's me. That's me. And that's how I moved. So after then, the roles just cascaded and started to come. And I rejected every single thing that came. Not out of pride, but just because they were all Odogo Malay stereotypes. The Igbo guy and the guy with the purple suit and the Igbo swag. And I didn't want that. Okay. So I figured this is time for you to move into television so you can determine what you want to be instead of you doing it, you know. And some people tell you, there's nothing wrong with getting typecasted, you know. And I'm like...
And then the money might be good.
No, I'm like, they're trying to gym-ike you. They're trying to gym-ike your career. Sorry. So I'm taking my time with that, with getting back into that acting mode. But I will eventually, but just differently, just in another light. Okay. Yeah, so there's more music. I'm back in the studio. I'm recording again. I want to put out more music this year because I need to make up for that 2024 years. I almost got forgotten.
Are you sure? Because the feedback has been great. I was going to ask you how was the feedback, but you already explained that during this interview.
It's crazy. Thankfully, the collaborations also sell you to the younger artists. Yes, it does. Yeah, and when that happens, they kind of just know that. They just say, "Oh, this one is an OG. This one is, you know." You no longer will be that OG that year. That's what they refer you to when you're no longer in their faces. But now I'm still making a rap and hip hop music. I just make it fly, just make it good and something that this generation can you know relate to. That's it. So everything I've been doing just tripled is what to expect from me.
Wow.
Yeah.
So please share your social media handles for your new fans, because I know that you already have fans.
Yes.
So they can follow you.
Yes. Yes. On Instagram, I'm Ill-bliss Goretti. Ill-bliss Goretti. Yeah, that's the name of my company. Ill-bliss Goretti. On Twitter, same. All right. Yeah. Those are the two key platforms.
And that is how we draw the curtains on this week's edition of Jollof Now. I had such fantastic conversations with Ill-bliss, and do not forget to stream his new album titled Sidikai on all streaming platforms that you can find. My name is Bolanle, and I'll catch you again on the next episode. Mwah.